Sydney comes flying in for the rebound. Kaylin from the logo. Oh my God! From the logo. Boom! Oh my God.
The reigning champs were untouchable, undefeated. The New York Liberty looked like a machine, crushing opponents with ease, week after week. No one had solved their puzzle. Then came June 14th. Caitlin Clark returned from injury, and what happened next wasn't just an upset. It was a dismantling. The Fever didn't just beat the Liberty, they broke them. 8 records shattered in one night. The Liberty's flawless season, over, their momentum, gone. But here's the real shocker, how Indiana turned that win into a blueprint for winning it all. If you're fired up for Caitlin's comeback, drop a CC record breaker in the comments. Let's get into it.
Caitlin pulls left wing, the right wing, 30-plus feet. Logo crosses over, watch it. Oh my goodness! She is back!
Back in the lineup, I'm ready to go.
I think you're just excited more than anything. You know, it gets kind of difficult when you prepare for a game. Obviously, when I'm on the bench, still knowing the scout, knowing everything that the other team's going to do, and still trying to mentally prepare and go through everything like I'm going to play, even though I knew I wasn't going to play. So, you know, doing that, but also knowing I was going to be able to be active today, I think gives you a little extra juice. So I'm certainly excited just to get back out there, get playing, and really good opportunity for us at home here, coming off of a loss. So it's a big game.
Picture this, the reigning champs cruising past every opponent like it was a varsity versus JV scrimmage. The New York Liberty entered June boasting a flawless 9-0 record, the last undefeated team standing in the WNBA. Every matchup, a domination. Every win, a message. They weren't just pulling off victories, they were bullying teams. Their defense wasn't just good, it was suffocating, unbreakable. Teams came in with hope and left looking like they'd been hit by a freight train. That Liberty defense, it was a fortress, one that seemed to grow more impenetrable with every single game.
Played the Liberty. There was obviously a frustrating ending. What lessons can you take from that experience, and how can that be applied to this, even though I know obviously Liberty look a little different with 2 starters out?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly you take time and score situations, you know, different versions of handling runs, offensively, defensively. Margin for error is small against a team like New York, and you know, every play matters. You know, every time we send them to the free throw line matters. Every rebound matters. You know, we can't afford to have empty possessions on the offensive end of the floor. You know, you've got to play your A game.
Every team came in thinking they had a shot until the tip-off. Then it was the same story on repeat. Frustration, confusion, and eventually defeat. Coaches tried every scheme in the book. Players buried themselves in film, but the outcome never changed. The Liberty had answers for everything. Their pick-and-roll game was precision engineered, slicing through defenses like a scalpel. On the other end, their defense smothered opponents into submission. Confidence, sky high. Swagger, justified. Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones, and Brianna Stewart weren't just playing well, they were putting on masterclasses. Stewart, deadly from all over the floor. Ionescu, draining impossible threes and throwing highlight reel dimes. And Jones? She made the paint her personal fortress, bullying other bigs like they didn't belong in the same league. It was domination at every level until June 14th.
I think we continue to learn lessons from the first time we played them and from our last game against Atlanta. You know, every single day that we move forward. You know, I think they're a different team. Certainly, we're going to be a different team having C and Sophie back on the floor. And you know, we're going to tip the ball up and go out, and we're going to give it everything that we have.
The stats were jaw-dropping. New York wasn't just winning, they were embarrassing elite teams. Double-digit wins were routine. Their average margin of victory hovered around 18 points, and some nights it looked like they could name the score. Opposing all-stars? Neutralized. Top 5 offenses? Held under 70th. Analysts weren't just praising the Liberty, they were borderline anointing them. Talk shows were debating whether this team could go undefeated through the All-Star break. Pundits threw out terms like dynasty in the making, and writers, they weren't saving their superlatives. Features were being pre-written for an inevitable title run. It wasn't if New York would win the championship, it was how easily they'd do it. Then, Caitlin Clark returned, and the conversation flipped overnight.
Welcome to ESPN's coverage of the WNBA. The defending champion and unbeaten New York Liberty coming to town for the second time this year as we get ready for this game. And yes, she is back. Caitlin Clark will indeed be playing today. Missed the last 5 games with a strained quad, taking on the Liberty off to their best start ever. Sabrina Ionescu and company in this big Commissioner's Cup game as well. And as usual, all the seats are filled here.
Then came the matchup everyone assumed would be another routine Liberty beatdown. The Fever still finding their rhythm. Clark just cleared from injury. The odds stacked sky high against Indiana, but sometimes all it takes is one spark to light the fire. From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped back onto the court, the energy shifted. You could feel it in the arena. The crowd leaned in, the Liberty leaned back, and the Fever, they leaned on their leader. Caitlin didn't just play, she exploded. No easing in, no warm-up period. She came out firing, running the floor with confidence, threading passes through tight windows, and draining threes from the logo like she never left. And suddenly, the Liberty weren't in control anymore. The Fever had found their anchor, and New York had no idea how to stop what was coming.
It was crazy. I was down in the tunnel watching, so, I had to go look at the ESPN win probability after that. It was like 97.9, which I'm like, how is it not 99.9? But, one of the best finishes I've ever been a part of.
Caitlin, we all know the championship is your ultimate focus, and you're not the type to dwell on individual accolades. So let me do it for you. After a rookie season that was nothing short of historic, breaking 62 records, carrying a last-place team to the playoffs, and finishing 4th in MVP voting, you should have entered 2025 as the clear MVP frontrunner. But that's not the narrative the media ran with. Instead, many defaulted to an Aja Wilson repeat. Now, to be clear, Aja is undeniably elite. But when the media didn't pick her, they found other ways to sidestep giving you the spotlight. Excuses, plain and simple.
A couple of things. Do I expect Aja Wilson to be Aja Wilson again this year? Yes. But I also know there is such a thing as voter fatigue.
But now, the tide has turned.
There we are right there. Caitlin Clark is officially the favorite to win the most valuable player.
The narrative is shifting, and the momentum is clearly in your favor. With a reloaded roster, a proven head coach, and a full offseason to elevate your game, the buzz around you isn't just about potential anymore. It's about expectation. Analysts, fans, and even critics are starting to realize that what you did as a rookie wasn't a fluke. It was just the beginning.
Clark. Yes! A new career high for Caitlin Clark.
FanDuel, BetMGM, and now even ESPN are all listing Caitlin Clark as the leading MVP candidate, putting her ahead of names like Aja Wilson and Nafisa Collier. That's not just fan buzz. It's Vegas, it's analytics, and it's people backing their belief with real money. The WNBA media, they're starting to come around too. After a rookie year marked by dismissive tones, veiled skepticism, and forced comparisons, the narrative is clearly changing. They're seeing what fans already knew. Caitlin Clark isn't just talented, she's a generational force. So what caused the shift? A lot has changed, and every factor points toward a breakout, dominant season ahead for both Clark and the Fever.
Way out of that backcourt. Clark, Boston screen, fire away, hits a three.
She's on the verge of going full beast mode, and most people have no idea what's coming. Let's break it all down. But first, hit that like button if you think Caitlin's bringing home the MVP this season. And don't forget to subscribe for all your Indiana Fever updates.
That is why she is my choice for the 2025 WNBA MVP.
Some, like Rachel, saw it before the rest of the media caught on. Caitlin Clark didn't just have a solid rookie season, she had a record-breaking one. She shattered 62 records, including setting the WNBA single-season assist record. As a rookie, that's unreal. And she did all that while being the most targeted, most scrutinized, and most talked about player in the league on a team that was still figuring itself out.
Like she broke the record for assists. I don't think people really understand like how crazy that is to do as a rookie, your first year doing this.
After the Olympic snub, Caitlin went on an absolute tear.
Here is Clark off the screen, launches, and drops a triple. Really physically demanding.
From that moment on, she averaged 23 points per game while leading a team that had been near the bottom just a season earlier. She brought them to the playoffs, elevated everyone around her, and did it all under the most intense spotlight any rookie has ever faced. Naturally, expectations were sky high for her second year, but despite all that, some analysts still didn't view her as a top contender. Bleacher Report's WNBA analyst Nakas Duncan even ranked her 5th heading into 2025, placing her behind Alyssa Thomas, the same Alyssa Thomas who averaged only 10.6 points per game last season.
Caitlin Clark at 5 is crazy to me, and it's crazy to me just off the rip because if we look at the MVP voting from last season, she was number 4 in MVP voting. It was Asia, Nafisa, Brianna, and then Caitlin.
Duncan's reasoning? He claimed ranking Caitlin any higher just felt like too much too soon, especially when it meant placing her above players who had already won championships. Sound familiar? It should. It's the same logic ESPN used when they left Caitlin Clark off their list of the top 5 women's college basketball players ever, despite her being the all-time leading scorer, the face of a cultural phenomenon, and the driving force behind a title game that outdrew the men's in viewership.
How can you be a top 5 player if you have not won a title?
It's one of those situations where the recognition for Caitlin Clark just hadn't caught up to her impact until now. The same ESPN that once snubbed her from their college basketball GOAT list is now calling her the MVP frontrunner, ahead of names like Aja Wilson and Nafisa Collier. Realistically, it's a 3-player race with a steep drop-off in odds after Brianna Stewart. Everyone else is more or less an afterthought. So what changed? A lot, actually. And the truth is, the writing was on the wall months ago. The signs were there. Momentum, major roster upgrades, and the Fever's smart off-season moves. But it wasn't until training camp began that the rest of the basketball world finally started seeing what Fever fans already knew. Indiana made serious moves that instantly elevated them into title contention, and every one of them makes Caitlin Clark even more lethal, starting at the top with their new coach.
Was any coaching at all in Indiana, they would not be 5 games below 500. Again.
Many fans and analysts believed Caitlin Clark and the Fever thrived despite their coach, Christy Sides. While no one openly stated it, the signs were unmistakable.
And I told y'all this last year. Well, I didn't tell y'all this last year on air, but like we saw when they took the pictures with Christy Sides, like when she pulled up on them at All-Star game, her, Kelsey, and AB, and everybody just kind of like rolled their eyes and walked away like she was a groupie.
Yeah,
that told me everything I needed to know. So when I said like she's not it was based on 2 years of seeing things that just shouldn't have been happening in the first place.
Caitlin mentioned early in the season that she wasn't receiving much guidance from the sidelines. On the court, moments of frustration, players exchanging disconnected glances, and huddles lacking focus all pointed to something not quite clicking. During the offseason, Caitlin subtly referenced the team's lack of strategy and structure. Fans were vocal in their criticism, especially when it came to getting outcoached in close games, and it became clear that change was necessary. That's why they brought in Stephanie White, the 2023 Coach of the Year. From day one, it was clear to Fever fans that this was a major upgrade. Now the media and the league are catching on as they see the noticeable improvements in practice.
Nice, good. Still don't miss to add then our drags and our step ups. Right here, yep, Tosh. Yep. Let's time it so we really get you over the top. Yo, we cannot be short on that pass. We can't be short on that pass.
Stephanie White's coaching will help the Fever win, and that directly benefits Caitlin. Better coaching means smarter rotations, more efficient offensive sets, and players actually moving without the ball. There will be more designed plays that highlight Caitlin's vision, with teammates in the right spots to finish those assists. This leads to fewer forced shots, more points on the board, and more overall efficiency. As the Fever rack up wins with this newfound smoothness, the MVP conversation will quickly heat up.
Now you have a veteran coach in Coach Stephanie White. You have seen her be so involved with her players.
Caitlin is clearly impressed with the changes, and Stephanie White's presence alone would have already been enough to boost Caitlin's MVP stock, tightening up team execution, elevating her play, and implementing a solid system. But when you add the new squad into the mix, it's not just an MVP season we're talking about. It's looking more like a full-on takeover.